I started at the college really in about 2000. I started teaching after doing my practicum here when I was in Perth. What happened was I didn't end up intend being a teacher. I intended being a journalist, or well, I sort of still right now. But I decided that I wasn't getting where I wanted to because I didn't actually get what was in the TAE or TE or ATAR now, and I had to go back to uni and or go back to school and do my English again. And then I sort of matriculated enough, and then I thought about what I was going to do in the future, and I bummed around a little bit doing different jobs and things, and thought, well, I really want to have a bit of control over what I'm doing, so I think I need to go to university. So off I went to uni. And what I did enabled me to do that was I sent in my results. They actually took my results from way back in 1985 and they bumped them up because they put them into what they would be today. And they said to me, well, you can come on to uni now if you want to. So I started studying sort of subjects that would help with my journalism, like politics, humanity type subjects, and a bit of and also media. I did media as well. So at the end of that course, my mate said to me, Pete, why don't you do a diploma of education? They said, you've been here for 3 years now, and what's one more year? And they tried to convince me that I would get through it quite okay. So that's what I did, and I did my practicum at Nagle Catholic College. I came home and did it at Nagle Catholic College. So I didn't end up intended being a teacher at all, even though when I was at school, my teachers said to me that, you'd make a good teacher. I think that's what you should do. And of course, I just wanted to be a journalist. I love the idea of, interviewing and traveling the world and, following, different things that were on the news. Anyway, so I did, as I said, my diploma of education, and came back and did my last practicum here at Nagle. And at the end of it, Brother Warwick Bryant, who was the principal at the time, who incidentally was my principal when I was at school, said to me that he would be keen for me to apply for some job that was coming up in the social studies department. So I did that, and I got the position, luckily, and I've been here ever since, so I haven't really moved very far. And a lot of people will say, did you want to travel, go away, or go somewhere else? Well, I have done a lot of travelling around the world, but I'm very much a homebody, and Geraldton's very much important to me, not just my family, but the community and the people in it are very close to me as well. So I don't think I would teach at any other school, actually, because teaching for me is part of my lifestyle, not necessarily, or my vocation, as we put it here at Nagle, not necessarily my job. And it's something that I do because it's part of what I do, along with the other little media bits and pieces that I do around town. I've been at Nagle now for over 20 years, and well, when I started, I didn't know whether I'd last or not. Like everyone, when you start teaching, it isn't as easy as people think it may be. But I've sort of moulded into a reasonable teacher after 20 years, probably. And I'm very comfortable with the job of being a teacher, and it fits into my life pretty well. I don't have a partner or kids, but what I find with Nagle is that if I had children, they would come to Nagle. My nephews came to Nagle, and I feel that the kids at Nagle are like my very own. So I have a vested interest in them. And I just think that if I was at another school anywhere else, I wouldn't have the same feeling. So that's why it's sort of part of who I am. Now, when I'm at the college, I've done a lot of different things. I sort of fell into the role of photographer at the college, and then that grew into a media type position. And like getting stories in the newspaper, taking all the pictures for various publications. And then, of course, is the school annual or yearbook, which came up. Declan Tannum, who was the principal of the time, needed someone to do the yearbook, and he asked me if I would do it. At the start, I thought this is going to be pretty difficult, trying to do the yearbook as well as teach and all the other media type stuff I was doing with the college. But I took it on board, and I did that for something like 9 or 10 years, and I really enjoyed that. And one of the great things about when you're doing the annual or have the camera here at Nagle is you get to see so many things. You get to see kids grow up through the lens of a camera. You get to see some wonderful things happening, And I've just been so fortunate and had a privilege to be able to document, the lives of so many youngsters. I don't know how many kids I probably would have taught over the 20 years, but I've certainly taken a lot of pictures of them. They're either at the swimming carnival, at the athletics carnival, in the classroom, or at some school event, be it a special mass, such as the Founders Mass or something like that. And I've always found that the kids have always never stood back from having a photo. I've never wanted anyone that doesn't want a photo. Some people, who have to take photos often get people hiding from them that they don't want to be in photos, but I've always got the kids always lining up to have photos. So I've enjoyed that and working with the school and promoting the school. And because, as I mentioned earlier, it's so much a part of me, I love the school, and so I talk about it and try and promote it in the best light that I can. And I've hopefully done that over the 20 years that I've been here. Sort of stepping away a little bit from that now, and probably going into the latter stages of my career. But in saying that, it's a special time because I'm starting to look at where I want to go for my next stage in life. But I still want to remain being a teacher. I think I'm very lucky to be in a profession that, if my health stays the way it is, I'm able to continue to do that for a very, very long time and be part of the lives of people in the community and their challenges and where they want to go as young people. I remember I talked about Warwick Bryant earlier in this conversation, and he was my first boss and my principal, as I said, when I was at St Pat's. But he said to me one thing that made me very aware of my job and how important it is. He said, Pete, he said, I don't care if a student comes through Nagle Catholic College and they're a brain surgeon, or if they're helping drive the garbage truck, or if they're a nurse, a doctor, or a policeman. He said, all I want them to be at the end of their time here is to be a good citizen. And I've always remembered that, and that's something that I think is very important. And that sort of echoes through our whole ethos here at Nagle for others, where we're sort of there to help with the community. And, at the end of the day, a student might not remember who taught them how to count, or, who taught them how to read, or how to spell a word. But they remember someone that showed an interest in what they do and where they're going. And it's lovely when you see those students later on in life. And they'll say, Mr Fiorenza, I was a rat bag at school. If I was you, you were far too lenient, and you must have had so much patience. And that's why now, as an older teacher, I probably mellow a little bit with knowing that one day they're going to, they're going to turn into good citizens, and most of them do. Some of the highlights I reckon about being part of Nagle is I remember when David Bromley started off the Rags to Riches. That was a tremendous vehicle to be involved in, and it's still happening today. COVID sort of put a little stop on it at the moment, but I think it'll come back. And it started off just as a little students putting together these dresses in the arts department and creating some designs and having a little catwalk set up at the Catholic Centre. And I remember the first one, and he asked me to be MC, and I was MC of the event for quite a few years till it blossomed into a great event at Queen's Park Theatre. And they're some of the best memories of watching not just the kids in their designs, but it became an event where the kids could show off their artwork in the foyer and also some of their talent on stage. And it really is a fantastic event, a very iconic event in respect to Nagle and St Vincent de Paul, who were the beneficiaries of what we did. And I think there's a lot of things that I'll go away from this interview and think, oh, I should have said this and I should have said that. But I think one thing that really sticks in my mind is when one of my nephews first started here at Nagle, and we had to write, or I asked them to give me a feedback on the I think it might have been a media class or something that I was teaching and he was part of, and I asked them to write back, what was the best thing they enjoyed with the media class. And I even get tears in my eyes when I think about this now. But he said, I really enjoyed the media class. You know, we learnt a lot of things. We got to take photographs. We got to film. But best of all, I got taught by my uncle. So that was something that really, you know, made me feel that the job I'm doing is worthwhile. And you know, I just hope that, you know, when I move on from somewhere like Nagel, that that I've sort of played a part in the lives of a young person, and that you know, I helped to make them, as Brother Bryant said when I first started here, make them into good citizens.